We won't allow people, in the way that has happened in the past, to have gross irresponsibility in the City of London, destroy wealth in this country. And there will be rules to make that happen in our manifesto. And because also we are Labour, as we pay down the deficit, we do so in a way that is fair. So when it comes to the tax rises that we've proposed, the burden is focused mainly at the top of the income scale, because we believe those with the broadest shoulders should have to bear the greatest burden. So we'll rebuild our economy in a different way in the future, in a broader way, in a fairer way, and with responsibility from everyone. But secondly, we know also in relation to our public services that we face big challenges. Now, there is a very big difference at this election between ourselves and the Conservatives, because we have made the commitment that they have not made, which is that we will protect investment in schools, in hospitals, and in policing. That is a commitment that they will not make, and that is on the ballot at this general election. But we will also be the reformers of our public services as well. You see, there is a big difference between our philosophy and the Tory philosophy. They basically believe in take it or leave it public services. That's what we had in 1997. Long NHS waiting lists, you didn't know when you were going to get an operation. No guaranteed standards in schools, no guaranteed standards in policing. And the difference with Labour is that, yes, we will protect the investment that goes into our public services, but we will also demand higher standards as well. If you take what we're doing in health, we're now guaranteeing, because of the improvements that have been made possible by the millions of people who work in our health services, we're now guaranteeing 18 weeks waiting, maximum waiting list. 2 weeks in terms of referral if you're suspected of having cancer. And now, in addition, a guarantee that you'll get cancer test results within a week. And that speaks to what we believe in our public services, which is there should be clear guarantees that are offered to people and clear rights of redress if those guarantees are not met. So we protect the investment that goes into frontline public services, and at the same time, we demand the highest standards from our public services as well. And of course, there will be difficult decisions that have to be taken in relation to public spending. And there will have to be cuts in lower priority programs. But again, the difference with us is that when we see new challenges that our society faces, we say we don't duck those challenges, we say we can meet them. And one of the biggest challenges, and people in this room will have had personal experience of this challenge, is care for the elderly. And I think one of the most exciting things about our manifesto is it will chart a course to a universal national care service for the elderly. And we won't get there in one parliament. It will take time, but we will chart a clear course. And what are we saying first of all? We're saying that people with the highest care needs will get personal care free in the home. What does that mean in practice? I met a couple in my constituency. I was knocking on the door, canvassing, and a gentleman answered the door in his 80s. And he said he was voting Labour, but he asked me to come in and meet his wife. His wife had had a spinal stroke 9 years earlier. They were getting half an hour care in the morning and half an hour in the evening. But the money they were getting in carer's allowance was all having to be paid out to pay for that care. So he didn't have a carer's allowance to make his life easier. He was just having to pay for the care. And so the difference we're talking about when we say we'll make personal care free at home for those with the highest needs is a difference that will be made to that couple and hundreds of thousands of others around this country. That is the difference between a Labour government willing to confront the challenges that our country faces and that people face, and a Conservative Party that would not do so. So we see a different kind of economy where we can't go back to business as usual. We see a different kind of public services building on our achievements. And we believe in a different kind of politics as well. And it's fantastic to have people like Stella coming in to Parliament. She is succeeding someone who was also a brilliant local MP in Neil Gerard, and I think we should also pay tribute to him because he is with us today. And what we all know is that, of course, we need to reform the system of expenses in Parliament, and we are doing so. But the disengagement from politics goes beyond that. And this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to make politics more accountable to people. And that's why we're talking about reforming our voting system and having a referendum next year on that. And that's why also I think this is the moment when we can finally complete the historic mission of the Labour Party, which is to have a democratically fully elected second chamber in this country. And to make that happen, we will put it to the people. So for the first time, we have the backing of the people in a referendum so that proposal cannot be stopped. So in politics too, we can't go on with business as usual. And we need to show, and we will show in our manifesto, that we are in the future business. And when you look at this manifesto, we are the reformers in politics today. We are the people with the ideas of the future. Because we're the people who say we can reform our economy for the future. We're the people who can say we can reform and improve our public services. And we're the people who say we can reform and improve our politics. And what is the thread that goes through the different proposals that we have? For me, it's quite a fundamental idea, which is actually we believe in people having power over their own lives. But whereas the Conservative Party would say that the way you make people powerful is by government simply getting out of the way, we know different. We know that active government, always reforming, is what makes people powerful, is what liberates people's talents, is what protects our elderly, is what helps our young people. And that is a fundamental difference at this election. And in the last week or so, we've seen the same old Conservative Party re-emerge. Because there is a high bar that we have to pass in all the manifestos this week. The manifestos have to be credible. They have to show we're for the future, and above all, they have to show that we're fair. Nobody can say after the last 4 days that the Conservative Party has any credibility on taxation and spending. They have become the party that sprays around commitments like there is no tomorrow, with not a clue how they would pay for them. They have nothing to say about the future of our economy, the future of our public services, or the future of our politics. And fundamentally, and most importantly, it is an unfair and unchanged Conservative Party that we confront in this country. So they claim they're going to make efficiency savings, but at the same time they refuse to guarantee spending on schools and Sure Start centres, including in this constituency. And we all know what that means, that they would cut the spending on schools and Sure Start centres in our country. They say that they want to help families, but what do? They take with one hand from children of families who are not married in order to give to married couples in this country, a policy that is the same old divisive Conservative Party in this country. And what do they also say? They say the right priority to spend £1 billion is to cut inheritance tax for millionaires. Again, the same old unfair, divisive Conservative Party in this country. I think we should have a test of all the manifestos, which is what does it do for lower and middle income families in this country? I tell you this, our manifesto will pass that test. There is no way a Conservative Party manifesto would pass that test. So we're fighting for the future in this election. Our country needs the next phase of national renewal like it needed in 1997. We are the people with the values, the experience and judgment to make that happen. It's fantastic to be here in Walthamstow. I look forward to Stella joining us in Parliament after May the 6th. But above all, after tomorrow's manifesto launch, let's go out and fight for our vision of society. Let's fight for the future of our economy and jobs here in Walthamstow. Let's go out and fight for our vision of public services, protected and reformed. Let's go out and fight for our vision of a society, fair and cohesive. Let's go out and win a 4th term. Thank you very much.
Well, Labour's manifesto chief Ed Miliband there teasing us about what is going to be in tomorrow's manifesto launch, talking about this being a moment to reject a business-as-usual mentality and to show greater boldness. No new spending commitments announced, though, in that manifesto. We believe he, of course, already admitted to Sky News this morning that the Labour Party is the underdog in this election. Well, this is Sky News on our website, skynews.com. The life of Poland's president. How did the former child TV star rise to political success? Coming up, after this gaffe, we'll be asking who's in the political second division.